Greetings, Earthlings. What the hell's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Let me first off by saying, before I give you this full review, I really enjoyed The Quiet Place, the original. I thought John Krasinski just did an unbelievable job with the sound in particular, and obviously the visuals, and put CGI aside, it's just a really good drama. It's a good family story. It's very heartfelt. It's very intense. So the first one I got hooked, and I obviously saw that in theaters a few years ago. So I just saw with the wife A Quiet Place Part 2. You have to see this in the movie theater. Have to. It's even more intense, I think, than the first one. But again, just the intensity of each scene it needs to be in a theater. It'll probably be great in your home theater, and I have a big home theater as well with, Philips lights, and it's all synced up, and I have a sound bar and all that jazz. But there's something about going to a movie theater and watching a movie like Quiet Place Part 2 where it's just super intense, especially during those, silent scenes that it has, and you hear the crackling on the side, and oh man, it's a different level. So I enjoyed the first one. The second one, here's your quick review. Not a lot of spoilers. I'm not going to give away anything, but that you haven't seen in the trailer. I will say, though, that the first, 15 minutes of the movie is more of a flashback. You could tell by the trailer that we're watching here. This was day one. So there's little hints of different things. Like you see the space shuttle that just popped up. That was in the first one where their kid had the space shuttle. So it's little things like that I think, John Krasinski just did a great job of doing it. And then, of course, this is from the trailer. This is the intense first couple scenes where it kind of builds up, how the aliens or that phenomenon got there. And then, let's put aside the aliens for a second. Emily Blunt in this movie, again, just like in Quiet Place 1, her performance in this is unparalleled. I mean, she just did a fantastic job. Keep in mind, this is a woman that has been through so much. And what I love about this is literally the first scene, aside from the flashback, but the first scene when it gets back into real time, it's them leaving from the ending of the first one. So it's literally within hours, and you're back in the sequel, which I really, really enjoyed because, this is almost 2 years old, right? So the fact that, they did that so well, where there were so many details, I don't want to give away a lot, but there is so many details in that first scene where, oh, that was intense. I remember that scene. Where there's so many great parts of it to where right when it comes back to that main scene at the end, you saw the first one, you automatically feel for Emily Blunt's character. Because remember, she just had a baby. Literally hours ago, just had a baby. She just lost her husband. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the first one, sorry. Just lost her husband. She lost her kid in the beginning of the first one, so years before. So this girl has been through some shit, and she still has to stay strong for her other two children and get them to, or three children rather, because she just had a kid, and get them to safety and not make a fucking peep. What? Dude, it is intense. This is a great story. It's very unique from anything else you've seen. It definitely leaves you wanting more. So, hats off to John Krasinski and Emily Blunt for putting this together and waiting so long to make sure this goes into theaters. I used to go to movies all the time with me and the wife, and my first job was actually at Regal Cinema. First job ever when I was 17 years old. I have a big passion for movie theaters. And I think a movie like this needs to be experienced at the theater. Of course, don't spend, $20 every week seeing those brand new movies, right? You have to pick aside, a few movies that you want to see, whether it's, the summer blockbusters or, those big holiday movies. But a movie like this was, I think, filmed for theaters, and it needs to be enjoyed in the theater. So we went to an AMC. I forget how great the experience is, but you lay back, and now they have automated chairs, and they have great food, and yeah, it's a little expensive, sure, but it's a really cool date night. And, with COVID precautions in place, you really get your own space. If like me and the wife went, but we didn't have anybody next to us because they block it off. Every other group, you get one seat extra, and they recline all the way back now. I mean, it's a hell of an experience. And then, of course, movie theater popcorn can't beat that. So overall, Quiet Place Part 2, just a great movie. The drama, the storyline, the climax part of each scene, and normally there's a climax in a movie, right? There's like one big climax, like Avengers Endgame. There's a climax at the end. Well, this was like climaxes throughout the movie. That's what I really enjoyed about this is in between those climaxes of each big scene and each big moment, John Krasinski does a great job directing and keeping you in the motion of the movements and developing of each characters. And it's just there's something beautiful about the movie in between those climaxes with the aliens. But when you're not seeing the aliens, you're seeing these characters kind of grow and develop and learn new things, and it really makes you feel for each character. So he did a great job. Of course, Emily Blunt did amazing again. And then the kids, were fucking awesome in this, just like they were in the first one. So, again, you see them develop throughout the movie as well. So I hope there's a part 3. Spoilers ahead. They did kind of leave it open for that, but he might end it here as well. I think you could probably go both ways. But when I was in the theater, I wanted more. When it ended, I was satisfied, but then I was like, oh, fuck. Like I was waiting for a post-credit scene, you know what I mean? So great job, John Krasinski. I'm looking forward to part 3. Hopefully they're already filming, and let's get this thing out in a year. But definitely go see it, and go see it in theaters.